little bit, so that's just like a strategy. It's a strategy of helping our children to see information, being aware that information has categories, right? Life is a series of tasks, and tasks have categories. There's order to it. And teaching our kids to see that and be aware of it allows them to be more successful. This is a lot of fun. Raise your hand if you have ever walked into a dirty kitchen, right? We all have. So let's take this as a teaching opportunity for our children, right? So you have to kind of translate this to be age appropriate, but let's imagine that you're my 7-year-old, and you send them into the kitchen and say, okay, I need you to go clean up the kitchen. How's that going to go? Right? I send my 13-year-old and I say, clean up the kitchen. How's that going to go? Well, it'll go differently, right? Still may not be great. It'll be different. What we can help our children do is, before we even send them into the kitchen, we help them to see and articulate the different parts of the kitchen, right? Because what they don't see a plan when they walk into a kitchen like this. Wouldn't see it. It's like their bedrooms. If you send them to go clean up the bedroom, same thing. They just don't see the categories of the bedroom, right? You have to help them see that. And it's great to practice, right? You have a closet, you have a bed, right? You have a desk, you have a floor, each requiring a scaffolded approach to going from dirty to clean. So I talk a lot, visualizing, verbalizing is a speech and language terminology that's been, it's been used for way too long. But what this means is if you can visualize, meaning what do I look at and can I describe it? Can I verbalize my plan? Would you ever have your child go do 3 things? I want you to go to your room. I want you to get your jacket, and I want you to brush your teeth, and I want you to come back down here, right? Okay, JD, that's my son's name. Repeat what I just said of the 3 things I want you to go do, right? So, okay, tell me where your jacket is. Okay, well, it's up the stairs, room's on the left. My jacket, I think, is on the floor next to my bed. Great, okay. Where's your toothbrush? Oh, the toothbrush is down the hallway next to the sink. Okay, which side of the sink? Oh, the left side of the sink. What color is your toothbrush? Oh, it's a blue toothbrush. I have no idea what color. I'm going to find that out. So what we're trying to do is, again, as he describes that process of the tasks, he's anchoring this verbal, nonverbal relationship in his process, in his verbalization. Same thing can happen in the kitchen. Let's take this kitchen, for example. What do we start? Right? So we help him come up with a scaffolded approach to tackle the kitchen. Now, this is probably an overwhelming kitchen for any 7-year-old, but if you go in there and help, you come up with a plan beforehand. Let's tackle the kitchen and let's break it up into categories. Where do you see sections of the kitchen? What do you see as being categories or areas that we can kind of break the kitchen into? Oh, this is a fun game. Oh, I see a countertop. Yeah, okay, cool. Countertop's one area. What else do you see? Well, I see a sink. All right, cool. What else do you see? I see dishes. Awesome. So what you're helping to do is you're helping to build this relationship around space, right? And tasks as it relates to, taking something like a dirty kitchen and starting to see the categories within it. It's like the writing process. It's the same cognitive process. It's just you're using life examples. You use that same process when you're starting to think about a paper. I'd have to develop an outline. I have to develop a web. I have to organize my thinking into categories that describe as, around a theme of a paragraph. Oh, I have to transition that to another paragraph. So it's the same cognitive process. Okay. What I'm trying to help you do with these examples is, as parents, when are the opportunities during one day where I can pause and teach? And if it's a clean room, great. If it's a kitchen, great. A room. Now, our kids are really good at making it look like this. That's okay. That's okay. What's really hard for them, for many of our children, is to make it go back to organization, right? To bring the order back to the chaos. So we have to help them do that. We have to help them see a plan through verbal and nonverbal communication. All right, let's just survey the environment. Let's go to your door, stand in your doorway, and let's talk, let's visualize and verbalize a plan. All right, well, let's see there's different parts. I see there's a counter over there. I see there's a bed there. I see there's like a table over here on the left. I see a desk where you do your homework, which you can't anymore because there's so much junk on there. All right, let's start breaking this up into categories and let's talk about, you can write it down too, but sometimes just that discussion could be enough to initiate a clear idea of what it looks like done and how the plan can be executed to get there. You do that 100 times, you're building skills. Questions about that? Same thing. I just had these images.
Do you have what's an example of like a smaller scale? Like, because like a clean kitchen or a clean room might be like, you know, that could escalate emotionally depending on the age of your child. Do you have like I don't know, I see the sink now, so that my brain's kind of making me think we can go there. But like what's an example of like a smaller, maybe?
Well, for example, like
just because like
a family room could be a good example, right? So yeah, sometimes at the end of the day, there can be a family effort to clean the house before bed. I don't know, just an example, right? It's like, okay, getting ready for bed. All right, JD, you're in charge of the family room. Typically, a family room is not a disaster unless that's also the playroom. But you know, you think of an environment of the house that can be manageable. Maybe it's where the shoes are, right? Because sometimes the shoes get all scattered around, and maybe that's an area that they can target. Yeah. Okay, I want you to go kind of clean the mudroom area. But yeah, you want something that's accessible. But honestly, the truth is I would do this with JD first and talk about the process. And use my own language and my own verbalization to help build them up to be able to do something like this on their own. But yeah, you start with being a team effort. How about you just do you're in charge of the toothpaste? Well, what do you mean? You're in charge of cleaning up the toothpaste. What do you think we should do first? How many pieces of toothpaste do we see on the counter? Like, you just start asking these questions. What you're doing is you're just talking through this future plan, this cognitive process that has everything to do with the frontal lobe. Right? If it's emotional, then you got to pull it back a little further. You got to continue to meet them at their level. It's emotional because that's a big task that you're asking them to do. And maybe their working memory is not there because it's been, you're not going to tackle something like this at the end of a school day unless they can handle it. Right? I haven't gotten into the working memory stuff, but maybe I should. Working memory is extremely important to take care of.